Did you lose?
Thank you for joining us today. I am Luke Beer, the president of the Rotary Club of Dupont Circle. I'm glad that you're here. I see a number of guests and members and friends. I'm so glad you're all here. But to start this meeting, I'm going to ask my colleague Gaston to read our mission statement. Please, Gaston, can you hear me, or is my internet froze? Hello?
Oh. Here we go.
Friends, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I'll have my technicians address the situation momentarily, but thank you. I hope everyone's back. Gaston, could I ask you to read the mission statement, please, friend?
Absolutely. We use our professional diversity and international perspective to serve our community, both local and global, in concrete ways through hard work, innovation, and creativity. The synergy of the club lets us have a clear impact on the world than possible as an individual while enriching us through fellowship.
Thank you very much, Gaston. Before we offer the toast, and I'll leave the opportunity, if anyone would like to claim the toast, they're welcome to it. But I thought maybe we could introduce all of our guests, aside from our speaker, Captain Lana. So maybe I'll call on Elizabeth. Do you mind just to introduce yourself, say where you're coming from, how you found us, and what you know perhaps about Rotary or otherwise?
Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth. I was invited to this by Monique Toussaint. She's a colleague of mine. I met her for the first time actually yesterday. I'm new to the area, so she definitely told me to check you all out. I will be quite frank, I have no idea what Rotary Club is, but I am looking forward to learning about it. I come from Miami. I'm an event manager with the Department of Education. And again, I'm just looking forward to just sitting in and hearing what this is all about.
Marvelous, thank you and welcome. Well, no one's better than Monique at explaining Rotary, but please, Jessica.
I just couldn't pass the opportunity, Elizabeth. I'm also at the Department of Education, so it's nice to have you.
Hi, Jessica.
And to meet you.
Same here.
Awesome. Well, that's wonderful. And I'm sure Jessica's probably going to reach out to you as well, Elizabeth, to send you the newsletter just so you know what's going on with our wider club. That's very cool. Past that, Debbie, do you want to introduce yourself again, just for our colleagues that weren't with us last week? We know you, and I know that you're actively emailing the club. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. I live in DC. I've been here for about a year now. I'm from Zimbabwe, and I run a nonprofit called Nyasha Africa, which is for health and education in Africa. So I've been to a few Rotary meetings before in Seattle, and this is my third meeting with this group. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. That's great to have you here.
Hi.
Marvelous. David, we're going to run you through the ringer, even though you've introduced yourself a couple of times. There's different members that haven't met you before. So
cool. Nice to meet you all. My name is David. Relatively or more or less new to the area. I'm a young professional looking to find community in DC. So thought Rotary might be a great way to volunteer, meet new people, and just interact with the community more.
Outstanding. Thank you, David. All right, well, no one has stepped forward. I believe Melissa, great to see you, our colleague Melissa. Looking forward to meeting everyone in person that I haven't got to meet. It's my prerogative as president then, if no one's going to claim the toast, I'm going to offer a toast. I was making a joke earlier that I'm close enough to Canada that I can get Canadian beer, and I know it's real. I can tell by the taste. And I'm on my way home to visit my family, some people I haven't seen for a number of years. So I want to toast to everyone who's going to visit family, friends, colleagues they haven't got to see. It's been a very challenging time. And I think that we're going to hear another episode from our captain here today. But cheers to everyone. Safe drive home, safe flight home, safe travels home. Hope you get to see your colleagues. Right on. With that, Jessica, can I ask you to follow up the news and I'll continue to check my notes?
Of course. Who is Uptown Streams before I launch into the news?
Yes, agreed. I had missed them.
It's okay. Just wanted to circle
Hi,
back.
this is Darcy Stamp and Corey Ackland. We're just here to support my sister Lana and see what the Rotary is all about.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Okay, well, you didn't even know. That's marvelous, marvelous. Okay, super. Please, Jessica.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Luke. We got an exciting week because we have not just one opportunity this week to interact with Rotary. We have two. On Friday night at 7 p.m. at Farmers and Distillers, Gabby and Bevan have organized a wonderful dinner. Today is the cutoff to RSVP. If you said yes to the survey, we included you in our count. I've also added several other people along the way this week. So just reach out to either myself or Gabby or Bevan if you'd like to join us again this Friday, August the 13th at 7 p.m. at Farmers and Distillers on Mass. Next weekend. Oh,
Jessica,
yes.
I'm sorry. Pardon me. I'll put my email and Gabby's email in the chat. If those who responded as a yes, we have the names that came after the survey, but Google gave us your responses, but not who responded. So if you could just email your names, if you had previously responded to the survey, that would be great, just so we can make sure, you can get some communication out there.
Awesome. I really appreciate you, Bevan and Gabby, both for organizing this. And then next weekend, we have the service event on the 21st from 9 till noon. And I'm going to see if Gaston would like to add anything more about it.
Sure. So, yeah, I've reached out to two organizations, Food and Friends, who I believe we've worked before, and Capital Food Bank. The food drive is on the Saturday, the 21st, and Food and Friends take donations on the weekends. So I'm waiting to hear back from Capital Food Bank, but I believe worst case, we could just hold on to those food donations until that Monday and drop them off. And yeah, I think there's two shifts, it's like a setup shift and a cleanup shift. So I think Mandy might have more information about that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Gaston, for organizing this. He's a perfect example of diving right in and filling an unmet need and do great things with our club, Gaston. So we're so happy and grateful for your service. Thank you for that. Also exciting front, now we have a YouTube channel. Another one of our new members, Austin Armstrong, has started this YouTube channel for us. All of the meetings now are being recorded. Again, as Luke said, to start the meeting, if you have any issues with that, please do reach out. We want everyone to feel welcome and safe and at home. But it just means that if you miss a meeting or want to hear more information, you can certainly log on to YouTube to get that done. I know that Mandy has been furiously sending out the, not furious in anger, but furious as in with a lot of energy, the invoices. So do please pay your dues. Thank you to Mandy for your service in that endeavor. I know it's a labor of love. And finally, a bit of news from the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation Chair of District 7620, Rich Glover, is hosting a series of trainings, and the first one will be on August the 18th at 7 p.m. There'll be more information coming out in this week's newsletter about that 7-part series. They come on generally Thursdays and Saturdays, so the first one happens to be on a Wednesday. Repeated content both Thursday and Saturday, but it's an awesome way to get to learn how your money works for others in the spirit of service through the Rotary Foundation. It's really a powerful endeavor, quite a better return on investment than anything else I can imagine these days. So do check that out when you see this week's newsletter. That's all I got. Happy to be here. Over to you, Luke.
Thank you, Jessica. Does anyone else have any news that is not on the newsletter? Otherwise, do send anything to Jessica. She will get it out to the wider group. I had 2 points of interest in news. I want to make sure that if you are paying your Rotary dues, and I hope you all are, we do get this Rotary magazine, which I find very, very interesting. And I actually know it's summertime and you're all just kicking around the beach. So this is fun to leave at different public locations as well to encourage Rotarians. and people to join Rotary. And the second thing that I wanted to talk about is this ridiculous email that I got from the Rotarians in Egypt that they are having a cross Egypt moped rally. I just put the link in the chat. Check it out. Just the photos alone are awesome. I went to Egypt in 2015 to look at a bunch of pomegranates and carrot factories. And when I went to the pyramids of Giza, I think there was only about 15 other tourists there. Egypt is absolutely empty and it's spectacular, to say nothing about the diving or anything in the Red Sea or Upper Egypt and countless more pyramids. But if you're a motorcycle enthusiast or otherwise, or you know someone, this is pretty ridiculous opportunity. And you know, if you're going with Rotarians, it's going to be set up like police chief's going to be looking after things. You know, this isn't a clown show. So that's pretty interesting. Right on. Without any further ado, friends. So you've probably all read Captain Lana's bio. You knew that she was going to be speaking here today. I can introduce you that this is my cousin, my buddy. We had a lot of fun. I don't have anything to say aside from when I asked her to come and speak to our club, she asked me, do I have to wear my uniform? And I said, no one else will be wearing a costume. And she said, well, most often, like my aunt, who's a teacher, she wanted me to wear the uniform for presentation to her class. And I said, well, we'll just all trust that you're actually a captain and an airline pilot. So without further ado, thank you very much, Lana, for joining us. Captain Lana Stamp, Lana thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. There's a few storms going through here, so I'll keep my video on as long as I can. It works somewhat better when the video's off. Super excited to be here. It's nice to see Luke in his element and see a little bit about what you guys do in the Rotary. It seems like a really big community, which is nice to see. Every one of you that's talked a little bit is in a completely different field, which is interesting to see. I'm a captain at a Canadian airline here in Canada. I live in Toronto, Ontario, and I grew up in Alberta, moved here about 8 years ago, and I'll probably be here forever. I married an Ontario guy, and here we are. So I'm happy. I wanted to talk a little bit about the industry here, answer any questions you guys have. It's a little bit different in Canada than the US for aviation, but we're very much the same and hurting just the same as everywhere else in the world is because of the pandemic.
Very cool. And one thing that Lana and I discussed was that she didn't have like a standing conversation, captain talk, like as cool as she is when she's on, you know, she's got the joystick in her hand and she's telling everyone that 38,000 feet, etc. So if you have a question about aviation or what's happening in the sector industry right now, it's going to be more of a question and answer kind of format. I naturally immediately thought of this Yahoo you saw getting duct taped to a chair earlier in the week. And I thought to myself, we've all had bad days at work, but we've never had bad days at work at 30,000 feet with 300 people in the back. So I was just wondering, like, you know, from the airline industry and from a captain's mouth, because you don't get to interface with the captain when such a situation happens. What do you do there, Lana? What do you hear even? Like, what are you getting from your crew and the air cabin crew? Are they, you know, if something was to happen like that?
Oh, sorry, the internet cut out there. So I heard from 300 people in the back and how, with Yahoos in the back, how we handle that. Is that what you're asking me?
Well, we are all 300 Yahoos, but I'm saying when you got to restrain one Yahoo with duct tape and tie him to, and you have a security incident like that, for example, I was just wondering, like, what's that protocol?
Well, we have kind of a systems we go through. I think the first thing to say that's most important is that the
Oh no. I'm with you guys, but she's not with any of you, right? She's maybe have to flip to straight audio.
Now you're gonna have to tell us from memory, Luke. I know you know some stories about her.
Man, it's all related. Okay, you're gonna switch to audio. Perfect. Are you with us, Captain? No one else here knows how to fly a plane, so we hope you come back. There you are, Lana. We can see you now. You're blinking.
Okay. Sorry.
Please.
Yeah. Just excuse me for 1 second.
I would just say that my favorite cartoon that I saw during this pandemic was two airline passengers sitting beside each other, and the one turned to the other one and said, I think these airline pilots are a little bit too arrogant. I think anyone, you know, it was a little bit about our political theater we're experiencing these last few years. But can you hear us, Uptown Strings?
Yeah, I'm now talking on Uptown Strings. My brother has way better service than I do, so that's what brothers are for, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so back to your question. We have a 4-tier system. What I was saying is, most importantly, the pilots need to back up the flight attendants. So if a flight attendant calls you and someone is disruptive in the back, you need to trust them. So we work on a 1 through 4. So the first one is kind of a minor. Right now, it's happening a lot because of the masks. So let's say 2 flight attendants tell a passenger not to have their mask on, or to put their mask back on. And then once they've told them a certain amount of times, it moves to a level 2. So you can give the flight attendants what's called a captain card, kind of like if you were playing soccer and got flagged, is kind of the idea. Luckily, people seem to listen more to the captain than anyone else on the flight, which as they should, but they're given a card, kind of a warning. The level 3 is what you guys would have saw on the duct tape incident, where they're being abusive, not only verbally, but touching or trying to punch or whatever they're trying to do. So in Canada, they're almost like zip ties, where they'll zip tie you here. That flight attendant, I don't know if any of you watched the video, but they didn't have any type of restraint on there except duct tape. So as severe as it seemed like they needed, that he was trying to assault the other 2 flight attendants. Now the level 4 is just flight deck entry. So what can happen is someone can make a fight with the one flight attendant while the other one is planning to go up to the flight deck. It can be a distraction. So a level 4 is a lockdown of the airplane, restraining them. You're doing an emergency landing into whatever airport is closest, talking with ATC as well as your dispatch, or you could be intercepted. That's when, well, here it would, in Canada, it would be the F-18s would pull up beside you and then guide you to wherever you're going. Wow. So yeah, it is. Drunk passengers are another one. No one's supposed to get on intoxicated, because every 6,000 feet, your booze level of pressurization doubles. So someone could be a little bit tipsy coming on, and then they're loaded by the time you're pressurized to 10,000 feet. And then, now they're a problem on the way to wherever you're going.
Indeed. Yeah. From a friend, I heard about that. Yeah. Well, I just say that what blew me away too when we would have conversations is what your average day was, because your average day is not just fly one flight and then back. You essentially kind of taxi around the country. And I know that your husband's a pilot as well. And I was saying to my wife the other day, like, they're just all around the continent through the day. Like, you call me, I'm at the grocery store. Like, I'm around the corner. Like, maybe I'm 15 miles down the road, but like your husband being a pilot and that dynamic, we were laughing about pilots and how they're characters and such. And I was just thinking you could talk about your lifestyle and your scheduling even, so that we might know about that.
Yeah, being 2 pilots is definitely hard. We also have a 3-year-old at home, which adds to that stress, wanting to be home. And rather than book complete opposite days, so that you at least see each other. My husband, he does longer flights, so he can have you work 75 to 85 flight hours a month, let's say. So he can work 10 days and get that done. Where I'm in the regional, I prefer the short hops. I do Toronto, Washington, Toronto, New York, and back, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. And, you got to work a lot more days because the flights are only an hour long. We make it work with grandparents. So without my mom and dad, I don't know that I could be a pilot, or we both could, unless you get a live-in nanny, which almost every female that I fly with is married to a pilot. I would say 98% of them. So they either have a live-in nanny or amazing grandparents, or sometimes the town I lived in before, there was 3 pilot families that shared the same nanny and then would bid opposite days so that they could move around.
Interesting. Okay. Is there anyone else that has a question rather than hearing my voice again? Gabby, please.
Yeah, I have a question. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what led you to become a pilot and about the training you went through to get those skills.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, and my extended family was all out here. And actually I was coming to see Luke's stepdad for the summer. He was picking me up. So it was my first flight as an 8-year-old alone on the airplane. So I cried almost the whole flight, and this was before 9/11 when you were allowed in the flight deck. So the flight attendant took me up to sit with pilots, and it was nighttime. I remember seeing like billions of stars, everything from that day forward. That's what I wanted to do. When I finished high school, my dad really wanted me to get my degree first, which I'm thankful now because it's got me. Aviation here works on a point system, so you can apply with, your licenses. If you have a degree, it just moves you up that many more points, plus something to back up onto. So I did my training in Ottawa, and then I finished up in Calgary. So you do, it sounds not like a lot, but it's 250 hours to get all your licenses, but you're not hired anywhere until you at least have 1,500, 1,000 on type, 500. I have just over 5,000 hours now, and that's taken me like 11 years. So I went to a pilot proficiency program. It started in Ottawa. So you do kind of some theory of the airplane to get your aviation diploma, and then do the flying on the side. I ended up, for personal reasons, finishing my licenses in Calgary back at home, but it was nice to do some mountain flying and stuff as well. When I finished my flight school, I ended up doing dispatch at a company called Airsprint. And then I became, they call you, out of not so nice terms, it's kind of like the hanger bitch is what they call you, whether you're just doing whatever they need you to do. Not because I'm female, just in general. You're cleaning airplanes, you're de-icing, you're filling all the commissary, pretty much anything a pilot or anyone in the company needs you to do, that's your job. But I was able to go on to work. I then got positioned in Montreal on a PC-12 turboprop with only about 300 hours. So rather than having to wait to have 1,500, that's how I got that opportunity, by working a year of being everybody's
Joe boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have the same family members, so we have the same penchant for verbal.
Sorry.
Choice. Not at all. So past that note, I mean, you touched an interesting point there. I was interested to know how many female pilots, perhaps as a percentage, you could tell us, because it's a really unique thing where with our club, for example, being very female orientated as a Rotary club, it's not common. And so I was just wondering, like, what kind of work environment do you live in?
It's changing a lot. In Canada, it's 7% of the pilots are female. That's it. And sometimes it feels like it's a lot. Like I work with, there's only 4 female captains on my airplane and 5 pilots total on my specific airplane. Now, there's obviously lots of different airplanes, but across Canada, it's 7%. When I started in the industry, it was 4%. So it is coming. Excuse me. Some of the old school guys, and no disrespect against them, but they're moving out, and it's a lot better atmosphere, I think. paving the way for younger females. They don't, hopefully, I don't work with anybody who makes me feel uncomfortable now as a female, where when I first started, for sure, you got to know your stuff. It felt like twice as much.
Interesting. Well, that's very good. Is there someone else with a question?
I'll ask another in the news question. This is Kristen. Hi, welcome. I always have a lot of questions, but I'll start with one. I was just thinking about when I didn't see the duct tape one, but I did read a lot about the Ryanair diversion when they were flying over Belarus and ended up landing in Belarus, although they were closer to Ireland, I understood. And then, the political dissident was arrested. So I was wondering, after that, were there any discussions with your airlines about, I think that there already were protocols and procedures that they were trying to follow, but given this kind of new move that I think was pretty unprecedented as far as how to get a hold of a dissident, have there been any other discussions you could talk about how to handle that kind of situation?
Well, I feel a little bit embarrassed because I don't know that incident. Can you tell me just a tiny bit about it, and then I can tell you if it's flown through this way? Sure.
Ryanair, Ireland airplane was doing an international flight over and through several countries. I think it was I just was reading 170 passengers. They had made it while they were over Belarusian airspace. I guess they were told that there was an emergency and they needed to turn around. But I guess ultimately by the time they were kind of getting, they went to their hires in Ryanair and they were closer to Dublin or their final destination, but they ended up turning around because the advice was land, you have to come back here. And so it was a very vague message that was something like a potential security threat on board was what they were told. And the pilots were confused. What does that mean if you know more than we do and we're on board, and what are you getting? So there was, even in that moment, there were apparently confusion among the pilots about what should we do. But ultimately they landed in Belarus, and then the Belarusian security came on board and arrested the person that they knew was on that flight. And it was a dissident that had been outside the country that was flying to another country that they wanted to get because he had a Twitter account and they wanted to shut him down. Wow. And so the discussion was about, well, I guess the other insight I got was apparently that dissident knew the minute the plane turned around what was happening. And I thought that was really interesting from a pilot plane communication situation. It didn't sound like the pilots got any kind of additional information from inside the plane that this guy's freaking out. He's handing off his computer. He's telling people that this is going to be bad. And so I was kind of just interested. There
was 3 other KGB, Belarusian information security officers on the plane.
On the plane? Oh, I hadn't heard that. So anyway, this is all just a very unique incident, but I guess I was thinking that maybe there would be some dialogue around how pilots might handle this in the future. Especially maybe that internal plane discussion. If you think somebody's in real trouble if you land.
Yeah, that's an interesting scenario. Having heard that, I don't know how I would have handled that. The captain at the end of the day is in charge of where they're landing, what they're doing. You are at the mercy a little bit of if it's dispatch telling them that's where they need to go. There's a customs issue. It sounds like they landed exactly where they wanted that passenger to go. There's lots of times I only do between Canada and US turns, but sometimes we'll land in the US and customs is waiting there and then they're sent right back. So they might not catch it right when they check in, but they're looking at it while you're en route. So that's the only thing I could think of was how that gentleman was, or I'm not sure if it was a male or female, was even able to get on the flight. Now, if it was a security breach, I don't know if you'd want to, I don't know how close they were to Belarus. You said they were closer to their destination, but maybe once they were at that destination, they can't be taken. So.
But the thing was, he wasn't meant, he was meant to be he was a refugee, he was a political refugee. He had protection in the country he was leaving. and he was protected in the country he was arriving to. It's just that Belarus wanted to arrest him. and so they were trying to get him, basically they broke international law, I think, by doing this.
Very much did.
You know,
that is
you're not supposed to get a political prisoner by telling a plane to land when it doesn't have to land. But so he was doing everything legally. It's just that they considered him an illegal, you know, they consider him a lawbreaker or whatever. So
that was an incredible situation that will lead to global sanctions and the ossification of Belarus and the further fracture of Western-Eastern relations that you just mentioned, Kristen. And I follow it very closely because of my post-Soviet relations, but I don't think, just US to Canada.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're not doing that to each other.
No.
Lord help us.
As soon as we get off of this, that's insane is what that is, and unfair.
Yeah, it's an incredible situation.
I have a softer question. Can I ask a softer question?
Please, Monique.
So, what is there anything that you would do differently, or do you have any words of advice for, like, if we knew a young lady that wanted to be a pilot?
That's a great question. Probably about 5 times throughout my career, I've wanted to quit, whether things are just taking too long or it's too hard. Out of my 13 people I started in my class, I was the only one that graduated. So it is hard to get through. It would be to not give up. I think too, you know, it is a myth that you can't, I'm tooting my own horn here a little bit, but you can't be a mom and be a pilot, and you absolutely can with the right support. You know, it's not a male job or just someone, you don't have to be single to do it. So that would be my advice, is just to not give up on your dreams. If you love to fly, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps when you're on your 3rd day in a row flying in terrible weather, de-icing and being stressed to the nines. And a bunch of people in their pajamas are all complaining because you're 10 minutes late.
That's right.
So I just say that's real. Is there any other questions about? So I had.
Have you ever thought about joining Rotary?
I am now, to be honest. This is great. I aren't like Elizabeth. I knew nothing about Rotary except knew that Luke had started it in Kabul. So it's been great. You guys should accept some Canadians in Dupont.
I mean, we can consider virtual membership.
Yeah.
We might have to consider that.
Yes.
Well, this is great. Lana, the other thing I was thinking about was just how important, when we're flying, the actual safety of individuals are on the plane. Like a life-changing incident could happen mid-flight. I remember, you know, I think you had a medical emergency personally while you were flying. I remember you. Yeah, and I was just wondering if you could kind of talk a little bit about that, because I think all of us have been blessed thus far. We haven't been on terrible flights, but if you could just tell people to give them a bit of context when there's an emergency for one person on the plane.
You know, the flight, again, it's the flight attendants are the all-stars of that. They aren't just there to serve drinks and such. They all have training in taking care of people having heart attacks, women having miscarriages. I myself had a kidney stone on board. Their first thing is always to have ask if there's a nurse or doctor to be on board that can help. And then the pilots have to contact, you can use StatMD or MediAir. Every company has their own different ones. You're not allowed to do anything for the passenger without talking to them. So they will decide if you should land, where you're going to land. Let's say there's a guy on board that is having a massive heart attack and you're right above. I think Cleveland is the one closest to us that has the best cardiology, whichever. So you wouldn't continue to Houston if a guy was having a heart attack and you're right above Cleveland, or you go back to closer to Toronto. So StatMD will decide that. We can't even administer oxygen on board without StatMD or Medi-Air's permission, because you could be hurting that passenger. You know, we're not doctors. So they are very good at taking care of you. My personal experience between Ottawa and Calgary, the plane diverted to Winnipeg. I was in the hospital in an ambulance within 15 minutes of needing to be there. And then on top of that, the flight crew came and visited me the 3 days that I was there to make sure I was okay. So, you know, they do some pretty incredible things. They do have the training to do some stuff. And usually there is a nurse or paramedic or doctor on board, which can help as well. I personally had a nurse that wanted to take my blood pressure every 10 seconds. And I was like, my blood pressure is fine. Just get me on the ground. So anyways, yeah, they deal, there's probably at least a medical a day on just my plane alone.
Yeah,
I haven't, pardon me?
Oh, I was just saying, no doubt. We forget that people are going, hundreds and thousands of people are going about their day. It happens all the time when you see how busy airports are, especially on holidays and such, and stress and otherwise. Yeah, I've heard the same thing from colleagues who were flight attendants, and they talked so seriously about the medical safety of all the passengers. I'm always just excited to get where I'm going and slamming a couple of watered down gin and tonics. So yeah, well, that's wicked. Unless there's anything else, I think we'll maybe let Captain Lana just hang up the microphone here.
Quick one. I don't think it should be too long, but
Please, Kristen.
I always get super swollen legs and ankles on flights. And so I was just thinking, like, what do you do? Because you look very fit, you look very, you know, but if I didn't have the right sleep, and if I had exposure to airplane food and salty food and all that sort of stuff, I would be a wreck, I'm sure. So what are your health practices? How do you take care of yourself? How do you make up for lost sleep? All that kind of stuff.
That's a really good question. I drink lots of water. My trick is to stay on the same time zone. I don't ever change to whatever time zone I'm on. I just go to sleep. Lots of times we land and we have minimum rest. So unless we get 8 hours of sleep, we're supposed to call in sick. I do, if I haven't been flying, I will as well can get swollen. Usually that's just water. You drink as much water as you can. And I know lots of people wear there's pilots who wear compression socks. That helps with that. I like to walk a lot. I'm active with my daughter. She keeps me running around the house more than anything. Everything's been locked down here so much, but I do like to swim. That's what I did before, hoping to get back into that soon, and just not eat the water and not greasy food is the best thing to do when you're on the road. Now, when you're on holidays, that's what we like to do, right? Drink booze and eat all the food we can. But I try to bring food from home. So if I'm gone for 3 days, I like home cooked meals. They just make you feel better. And sleep. Sleep's the biggest thing.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Captain Lana.
Yep. Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you all. Thanks for the invitation, and I hope to call again in soon, even to listen to some other stuff or any of you guys speak.
Marvelous. We'll let you get back to your daughter. Thank you so
Cheers.
much. Cheers. Have a great day. Excellent, friends. Thank you so much. Well, it's that point in the meeting where we generally flip to happy dollars unless there's other business that needs to be discussed. Excellent. Okay, well, would anyone like to lead off with happy dollars?
We need to tell some of our visitors about what the happy dollars are for and what we use the money towards.
Sure, good thing. So friends, we raise money through a couple of different methods. One, as members, we pay dues that helps to finance our administration of our club and some of our activities as well. Secondarily, we collect money for our foundation, which is a 501(c)(3), which we use that bank account to donate to different activities that we support, different organizations and causes, as well as eventually larger projects that we partake in. Happy dollars are just $1 or $2 or $5 or otherwise that we like to offer to tell good news or something that we wish to share with the group. So yeah, that's a happy dollar.
I'll start off with 5. Thanks, Luke, for you've been a champion of getting speakers. We all should be asking our family members who have cool jobs now to come speak to us. You've broken the family member speaker seal. So thank you so much for getting this all together and being an awesome president.
Oh, thank you. I'm just sharing the link right now where you can reach our Happy Dollars handle for PayPal. It's under Happy Bucks there. And I want to also remind everyone to sign in the meeting. I'm going to pay $1 right now for Happy Dollars because I haven't ever missed signing into attendance. And I just remembered myself. It's $1 from President Luke.
I'll go. So I'll give $5 Happy Bucks, one for Elizabeth, who I met at work yesterday. And she's here today. Super excited to have her join our meeting. Hope she enjoyed it. One for our prospective members, and one for the school year the summer semester being done this week, if I can, when I finish my finals tonight and tomorrow night before I meet my professor. One for my family. Even though like we lost my uncle 2 weeks ago, we're still like kind of, trying to keep our spirits up for having such close decks back to back. And one for just these meetings are always a fun time. So I want to give one to our speaker. Truly enjoyed you.
Thank you, Monique.
And I'll follow Monique. I'll start with 5, but I want to do so with 3 being designated for the 3 of us who are here representing the Department of Education. I am just ecstatic about our presence in this club. Elizabeth, we hope to see you soon. And one just for the energy that we bring forth as a club and supporting one another. And then the other for our speaker. It was a great presentation.
Yep, I'm throwing down $3 myself.
Right on. Well, it's summer, so I'm happy to end meetings early because I'm sure you guys all have bigger things to do. Unless there's other happy dollars. No, I think we can all read the 4-way test together. Everyone can come off mute. Of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Does it bring
goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all?
Get in there.
Not bad.
Thank you very much, everyone. And Elizabeth, would you like to share your email with us so we can make sure you're connected, or you're probably connected with Monique?
We got it, Luke.
Super.
Yeah, I was just sending Jessica a private message. I gave her my email so she can share more information with me so I can continue to look into it. It definitely was great to listen to everyone, and I'm surprised there's so many ed members or ed associates here. So that's good to see.
We're taking over. It's gonna be Dupont Rotary Ed Club.
Let's do it.
I told my colleagues today before I logged off, I was like, oh, I'm gonna I'm gonna sit in a Rotary Club meeting with Monique. So maybe I can bring some of them next time.
Let's talk to them on Thursday at an events meeting. Be like, hey guys.
Oh yeah, we'll bring Chris and Patrick.
Awesome.
Outstanding.
And
Well,
I'm
right
looking
on, friends.
to folks at the restaurant on Friday. I don't know, virtual hands up if you're going. I'd be, Gabby, I assume you are right now. Nice,
Yep.
nice.
Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, oh good, David. That's great. It's gonna be good to get to know you.
Right on, man. Well, and I just spoke with Gaston. He's going to be jumping in on Meet Yourself for the month of September. But we are looking for additional speakers. So please, friends, if you have interesting colleagues, friends, family members, we love to hear from them. It's a wonderful opportunity to share all the interesting people in your life. So I'm glad I've been able to share a couple so far. Okay, wicked. Well, without further ado, I will close this meeting. Everyone have a safe and enjoyable week. And I hope there's umbrella drinks or at least umbrellas in your future.
You're gonna stick an umbrella in that Canadian beer, Luke?
Where I'm going, there's a pontoon boat and a fishing rod. So that's all I need. Yeah.
Even better.
Looked like that beer was going down pretty smooth there.
Yeah, I should have packed more. That's
It
for
is,
sure.
it's water. That's why.
Ooh, fighting words.
You got to watch that movie, Canadian Bacon. There's a great line about that. Okay, well, we'll talk to you later. Everyone, thank you very much. Have a great week. Board members, please stay on. We're going to continue our board session. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Okay, have a good week. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.